Hello everyone, and welcome to our Module 3. So this is a busy week. By the end of this week, our rough drafts of our first project are already due. I know this is fast, but that's the nature of a 12-week course. We run through this pretty fast. So by now, hopefully you all have your community chosen. And remember, that community is just kind of, this sounds odd, but it's like the Petri dish. It's holding the members that you are going to be examining. Okay. And so the goal isn't to write about the community. It is to look at the members within that contained group of people and look for patterns of behavior. So hopefully you're on the right track and you have been thinking about, and hopefully maybe ideally you've already identified a pattern of behavior. And so now it gets to the point where we have to figure out how to write this up into an essay. And that's what a lot of this writing or learning material focuses on, especially this video lecture. And so I'm going to kind of run through these really quickly and just give you a little preview of them. So this is an important page. This includes a couple of short videos and plus the Google documents, the Google slides for those lectures. But these lectures, in these lectures, I talk about a thesis statement, the type of thesis statement for this type of project, and how we use storytelling as evidence to support that thesis statement and how to organize it all. Okay, really important videos. Please take the time to watch them. It will make the writing of it so much easier for you. And please reach out if you have questions. Then I have two smaller, this is a handout on thesis statements and another short video I found that's really good about thesis statements. Look over those too. But again, that first one is the more important one. And then, because this assignment also requires you to integrate content from at least one outside source, really ideally one outside source. You can bring in two at the very most, but like I said, your stories are going to be the most important type of evidence that will be used to persuade your audience. But internet sources are probably going to be the most common type of source you'll use, since the audience is just Paradise Valley students. And so you don't need to get into the really deep peer-reviewed journal articles. And so I wanted to kind of offer some explanation and a video on how to find and weed out, how to find credible sources online and weed out the junk, because there's so much junk. And there's also some, great sources for just information, bullet point types of sources, which can be very handy, but they are not the caliber of source needed for a college research paper. And so I have a little bit of explanation right here, and I've got a short video right here where I walk through examples. So take the time to do that so that the source that you bring in is going to be credible and it's going to boost your credibility as a writer. And the next thing that I have here is show and tell in personal writing. Again, your stories are going to be your main type of evidence. But as I say that, I need to clarify that your stories, remember, you are the researcher here. Do not forget, you are the researcher. You're the one looking at the behavior of the other people in this group. And so the stories that you share are not just going to be about you. They're not just going to be about your feelings or what happened to you. The stories that you incorporate in this essay as evidence are going to be stories of times when you witnessed firsthand the behavior among the other people. You can have a story about, something that happened to you. That's fine, as long as you have other stories that show that this pattern of behavior happens among the other people as well. So in the writing of our stories, for it to be compelling for an audience, for it to be persuasive for the audience, we need to be able to share good stories. And by good, I mean a great story is a story that when the reader is reading it, they can envision what is happening on their mental movie screen. And so that kind of storytelling takes practice, and there's some specific types of moves that you can make. One is the use of concrete descriptive details. This first short video is about those kind of details, showing your reader, and this one is kind of the same one, the second video, being able to use descriptive details to show your reader what happened, to show them the setting, to show them the people so that they can envision it, so they don't have to guess from really, general terms. And the last video is a great video on being able to use writing or techniques in writing that slow down time for your reader so that they can really see the details of what happened in that moment. So don't skip these over. These are great videos. And let's see, the last thing I have in the learning materials is just a little note about BrainFuse and a short little video on how to use it. So BrainFuse is an online tutoring service, or it's kind of like off-site tutoring service that Maricopa pays for. And what's great about it is it's like a writing center where you can send BrainFuse a draft of your writing, and within 24 hours, as long as it's during the weekday, I think they're closed on the weekends, but usually within 24 hours, they will send your rough draft back with a lot of feedback and suggestions on how to improve it. Okay, it's a fantastic service. And I mean, you can also do live chats if you want, but it's great because sometimes anonymity is really great when we want to get feedback. And I think students have at least 10 opportunities every year or semester, something like that, to use BrainFuse. And you can use it for classes, for any kind of writing in any kind of class. You can also use it for your own needs, like if you're writing a cover letter for a job application or something like that. But BrainFuse is a great service, so I just wanted to share that with you just in case. I would encourage you to share your rough draft for this essay with them to get some feedback. But here, next, we're going to get into what we're going to be submitting this week. And so early on in the week, I want you to share with me your source. Find that source, use that. Go first of all, watch that video, read my content on finding credible sources online, but share with me just the citation for that source. And understand that a citation is not the same thing as a URL or hyperlink or anything like that. I want the full MLA citation, so I know exactly what kind of source it is, and just a short, a couple sentences that tell me how you're going to use that source. And this will just allow me to see whether you're headed in the right direction, whether you're finding the right kind of sources and stuff. This isn't a contract. If you want to change out this source later on, that's absolutely fine. But I want to know that you've at least started on finding that source because we move at such a quick pace. Then finally on Friday, we're going to have our peer review. Now I know different professors do peer reviews in different ways. In fact, Canvas offers many different ways that a professor can design a peer review. I am really asking you to use the instructions for this peer review, for how I have it organized here. If you do it a different way, I will not know where to find your feedback, and your classmate won't be able to find their feedback that you've written for them. So please follow these instructions. So first of all, note the time. The rough drafts will be due 9 a.m. Friday morning. All right? At about 9:05, Canvas will automatically assign everyone who's submitted a peer whose paper they can review. And that peer's name will show up at the top here. You might need to refresh the page if it's been sitting open, but it should show up right there. If you're not seeing it, send me a note and I can find it for you. And then once you get that, well, first of all, you're going to go down here and click on reply and attach a file of your draft or a Google document of your draft. And then once you get your classmate's name, whose paper that you're going to offer feedback for, you're going to go down through the discussion board. You're going to find their paper and you're going to read it. And you're going to fill out this worksheet. This is just 6 questions, 6 prompts. And remember, we are looking at the writing and we're offering feedback to the writer from the reader's experience. We are not correcting one another. We're not worried about grammar. We're not worried about punctuation at this point. We're not editing one another's paper. We are being very positive and encouraging and helping one another produce the best paper possible. Because it's really impossible to judge our own writing because we are automatically neurologically fill in the blanks. We might have some blanks in our writing, but we can't see them because we know what we're trying to say. And so we automatically fill them in. So we need another pair of eyes, somebody else to look at our paper and give us feedback. So fill this out and be generous and be specific. If you're talking about something in the second paragraph on the second page, say that to the writer. Let them know exactly what you're talking about. Once you have that finished, by noon on Monday, so you have a couple days to do this, by noon on Monday, go down, find your classmate's original post, and click on a reply to them and attach it to this discussion board. Don't put it somewhere else. Don't put it in a comment box or anywhere else. Use this discussion board, please. If you submit late and you miss that automatic pairing, go ahead and pick someone down in the discussion board, and you still will be able to get most of the credit. If you do not submit a rough draft, you can still go down and find somebody's paper and give them feedback, and you still will be able to earn up to 15 out of the 20 points for this peer review. So don't just ignore it, because this 20 points makes a big difference. It's worth double the points of our regular assignments. And that's it for this week. The final draft is going to be due the following Tuesday, but this is what we're going to be focusing on this week. Please reach out if you have any questions, and have a great week.